He held the office of bishop on the one hand, but he was also a simple man, as if from the biography of a saint. He held no distance to other people. For Saint Kallinikos of Edessa, we could talk for days. I'll tell you just some of what I experienced, although His Eminence of Naupactos has written everything down in his books. But let me tell of my experiences. I've lived here 12 years near him. Now, here we have him in a portrait. How did I meet the saint? In 1972, I arrived here as a soldier. I had just finished theological school. I was sent here to Ioannitsa, to the recruit training centers first, to Corinth, then to Thebes, and then I came here. I stayed 21 months like that. When I came here to Ioannitsa, St. Kallinikos was in contact with my elder, Father Phanis Theodoropoulos. They talked to each other, and Kallinikos was very pleased. The same week he met me in Ioannitsa, and the next 2 years I stayed in the army. He kept coming to meet me, and he wanted me to stay here in our metropolis. Also, he granted me leaves and to wear civilian clothes. It was during the time of the Greek junta, 1972. A soldier was not allowed to walk around in civilian clothes. He even gave me permission to preach from the pulpit in civilian clothes and to teach Sunday school. I taught in 1 or 2 churches. This is how I met St. Kallinikos. I was impressed by his personality. He was a simple man. He wasn't a priest who made a lot of noise about himself because he had studied a lot or something. He was simple, although he finished the theological school with an A. He knew the New Testament well, very well. And he was an excellent preacher. He could sense the pulse of the people, and wherever he went, he was welcomed with great joy. "Stay here with me," he said to me. But I had other plans. I wanted to go to southern Greece, to an island there. It'll be easier, I thought. But my elder said, "Stay there. Stay there with His Eminence of Edessa." So I took it like the voice of God and stayed. I stayed by his side 12 years, including my military service. For 5 years, I was the director of a boarding school, and at the same time, I was a preacher. And 5 years I stayed outside. I rented a house for my mother. The office was always open. Any time you rang the bell at the metropolis, he'd come down himself to open the door. Even though the fathers here were telling him, "Calm down, you are 60 years old now." He was going downstairs at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to open the door. A lot of times he opened for beggars asking for money. He always put his hand in his pocket to give them something. But not only that, also as a pastor, he had extraordinary gifts. Next door was a school. From that school, all the children visited the bishop's office every day. And they'd ask for a piece of candy or a little cross. And even now, they're telling me stories of how they've been going every day. And he would give them some candy, a little cross, a little icon, every single day. He had it on his schedule, and he became friends with a lot of kids. Even today, they tell me in detail how they were entering the office and how they were welcomed. He respected them like grown-ups, not like little kids. From what he was telling them, spiritual advice, and so on. And they became friends with him. They had courage. They weren't shy or something. As soon as the school ended, right here, next door, instead of going home directly, they went to him. Also, he didn't kick any one of the grown-ups out of his office. He accepted everyone. He didn't have a fixed schedule of visits. You could find him at 2 in the afternoon as well as 8 in the morning. He was getting up early in the morning, going to sleep at 9 to 10 at night, and waking up very early in the morning because he said, when a priest celebrates, he must be vivid. No one should see him chewing his cud or depressed, because by that no one is inspired to pray afterwards. He got up, opened the office, and many times he would also open the windows of his helpers. So the metropolis was getting aired out. He was not ashamed of doing such work. He was a simple man. Several times I saw him in the kitchen with Father Erotheos of Nefpaktos, washing the dishes and him wiping them down. Also, he had a cartridge for the shoe polish. He was polishing his own and then ours too. What I want to tell you is, he held the office of bishop on the one hand, but he was also a simple man, as if from the biography of a saint. He held no distance to other people. That had impressed me. He was listening to his helpers, getting opinions. He altered his schedule many times. He was not rigid. In spiritual matters, he was very steadfast. But in the other matters, he knew how to listen, and even said, if you want to have good cooperation with others, learn to swallow. What does that mean? You might find the other guy's opinion toxic or unjustified. Nevertheless, you have to accept it and to act according to what God reveals to you.